Hey, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Hideous Thoughts, and in today's video we're going over the exact process that you need to follow to get your Tet boss gear all the way up to pen through the new craftable system that's coming to console in a couple of weeks with the new Season Plus. Guys, this was uploaded on the Korean patch notes, has been translated to English, and I'm just breaking it all down for you so you guys can understand it easily so that you know exactly what you need to do. It's a pretty simple process, it's just very expensive, so make sure you stick around for the whole video so you fully understand it, and then let me know in the comments below at the end of the video what you guys think about the whole system and what you think about the whole process. I know that a lot of people are a little bit worried about this, not really sure how it's all going to work, so hopefully this helps you out. Guys, don't forget, hit that thumbs up button if this video does help you out, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're making our way to 1,000 subs on the channel. We're so close, guys, so close, and I need your help to get there. But hey guys, enough about my rambling. I'm sure you don't want to hear it. Let's get into the video. Alright guys, so we're going to go through the notes here about what you need to do exactly to upgrade your Tet gear to your pen boss gear in the easy method. Alright guys, so bear with me, you're going to have to try and get your head around this a little bit. It's not really too hard to understand, but there's some new items that are being introduced that may confuse you a little bit, but all in all, once you kind of understand it and you understand these items, it's not really too bad. So here we go. Basically what you need is you need to get your Pen Tuvala gear. Now this is going to be very easy to do because with the easy enhancement method of Tuvala, Pen Tuvala gear is going to be very, very easy to get. Then what you can do is you can exchange that for boss gear, for example, right? And we'll get into that in just a second. Or what you can do is you can exchange your sellable Tet boss gear, which I don't recommend you do, for the unsellable Tet boss gear. Now with the Tuvala gear, they've changed this. Originally what was said was that you were only going to be able to do this with set boss gear, so you're only going to be able to use the Dim Tree, you're only going to be able to use Gaiath helmet, you're only going to be able to use Beg's gloves, Muskin shoes as well, and then obviously you can do the Zaka, the Kudum, and the Dandelion. Now, just so you guys are aware, this has been changed. We can now exchange the Tuvala gear for all of the boss gears, right? So now, in addition to those, we can also get the Uragon shoes, the Liba's gloves, and the Nuva sub weapons. So you guys have a lot more flexibility with what you can actually do. Now, also, the reason why I recommend you using the Tuvala gear for this is because the sellable Tet boss gear that you have already has a silver value, whereas the Tuvala gear is free. It's free to get it through with the season upgrade path. All the resources to upgrade it are free. The Tuvala gear doesn't have a silver value, whereas your Tet boss gear does. So what I would be doing myself is I'd be putting my Tet boss gear onto an alt character, or I'd be upgrading it to pen and then selling it myself, and then using the Tuvala gear to upgrade and use that gear for the pen, the easy method pen upgrades over time, right? That's what I'm going to be doing. You can obviously do whatever you want, but that's what I recommend. So once you've got your untradeable Tet boss gear, here's what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to upgrade it in phases. So we're going to go from phase 1 all the way up to phase 5. Now, to get to increase it to a phase, you're going to need some resources. Now for the weapons, you can see here we're going to need the concentrated magical weapon stones. You're going to need 10 of those. You're going to need 20 magical shards. You're going to need 50 memory frags, 1 opal ore, and 60 pieces of this chief lumpy crystals. I'm going to explain to you in just a second how you can get those. But then what you would do is you would heat all of those materials together. It's going to give you this brilliant weapon improvement stone. Then you can use that on your weapon. You can upgrade it to phase 1. Then you're going to need to do the same thing for phase 2, but instead of the opal ore, you're going to need an engraved opal. Then for phase 3, instead of the engraved opal, you're going to need a brilliant opal. And for phase 4, instead of the brilliant, you're going to need a moonlight. All of these crystals here stay the same, 60 pieces the whole way through. And all the other resources increase for each of the phases. This one's for the weapon. For the armors, it's going to be the same thing, except you're going to need the concentrated magical blackstones for armor. Okay. And the same deal with the ores, the opals, sorry, they're all the same. Everything else is the same, all the way up to phase 4. So for each single piece, right, you're going to need 100 concentrated magical blackstones for armor or weapon, depending on what you're doing. You're going to need 200 magical shards, 550 memory frags. You're going to need 240 boss core crystals. You're going to need 1 rough opal, 1 polished opal, 1 brilliant opal, 1 moonlight opal. That's for each individual piece, so times that by 7, depending on what gear that you're actually upgrading. Now the boss core crystals are pretty easy to get. Basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to get a quest from Jatina, and Jatina is the same NPC that we're getting the quest from to do the pen enhancement on the crystal. Okay, so you're going to go and talk to her. She's going to give you a quest, and she wants you to exchange 2 boss latent auras. The boss latent auras are the auras that we get from defeating world bosses, and she's going to give you 115 boss core crystals. And the boss core crystals, you're going to need 60 of those for each of the 4 phases, 1 through to 4. So if you take a look again, you can see here for each of the phases you're going to need 60 pieces, and you get 115 each day for trading in 2 boss latent auras. You will need to do each of the quest 4 times per item that you are doing. Just so you guys know as well, they're introducing latent auras for the field bosses, for boss summon scrolls, and for rift bosses as well. So you guys are going to be able to get boss auras for those as well. Okay, so these include the Gaiath, the Beg, the Griffin, the Uragon, Red Nose, Liba, Dimtree, and the Muskin summon scrolls and rift bosses. You can get auras for each of those as well. Once you've now what you're going to need is on top of that, you're going to need condensed boss energy. Now this is where it can get expensive, right? So what you're going to need, guys, is you're going to need to start melting some boss gear. So depending on the enhancement level that you're of the item that you're melting, it's going to give you different amounts of this constant condensed boss energy. So melting a Pry is going to give you 10, melting a Duo is going to give you 15, and melting a Tri is going to give you 30. Now, depending on the item as well that you're doing, let's say that you want to be in upgrading your Zaka, you're actually going to be needing to melt a Zaka weapon. So this is what it's going to look like. We've got to get your brilliant weapon improvement stone. Like, let's say that we're doing the Zaka. Okay, we're going to need 50 pieces of the concentrated magical blackstone weapons, 450 memory frags, 120 lumpy crystals. You're going to need 1 Aquila crystal of the sky. We're going to get to those in a second. I'm explaining to you how to get those. And you're going to need 30 pieces of the condensed boss energy for Zaka. Right, so if we're upgrading the Zaka, we need the ones from Zaka. This is where it gets a little bit important to pay attention to the notes. And the same deal for each of the armors, guys. You're going to need the same things, except with the crystal, you're going to need an earth crystal, and you're going to need to melt you're going to need the condensed boss energy from the piece that you've melted. So if you're upgrading a Dimtree, you're going to need to melt a Tri Dimtree, for example. You need 30 of those, so that would be the cheapest way to do it. You could melt 3 Pries, but I think it'd probably work out cheaper to melt a Tri, just going off the math, like in the top of my head, right? Okay, so phase 5, guys, here's what you need to do. So for each piece, you're going to need 50 concentrated magical blackstones, 450 memory frags, 120 boss core crystals, 1 Aquila earth or sky crystal, depending if it's weapon or armor, and 30 condensed boss energy. Also, just to point out to you guys that the lumpy crystals is actually the boss core crystals that you get from Jatina when you exchange the 2 latent auras. So just so you guys are aware of that. Okay, guys, so the next part is quite simple to understand. Just very, very expensive. Just mentally prepare yourself right now. Basically, what you need to do is you need to grab these the crystals, the Aquila's Earth and the Aquila's Sky crystals, and you need to get those. You need to go to the Old Moon shop NPC, and you need to buy these Aquila's New Year's Eve fragments. They cost 50 million silver each. Once you've got X amount, you're going to go to Jatina. She's going to give you a quest where you got to exchange for a Sky or an Earth crystal. Okay, so moving on into the amounts. For the weapons, you're going to need 30 of the Aquila's New Year's Eve fragments. and you're going to exchange them for 1 sky crystal. Now, I worked that out. 30 times 50 million is 1.5 billion silver. Once you've got that, then you can come back and you can put that together with your other ingredients, your 50 concentrated magical blackstones, your 450 memory frags, your 120 boss core crystals, your 1 sky Aquila's crystal, and your 30 pieces of condensed energy that you've melted down from a boss weapon. And then you're going to heat that, and that's going to give you your brilliant weapon improvement stone 5, which is going to allow you to then transform that item into a pen weapon. The same deal happens with the armors, except you need the earth crystal. The way that this works is it's done in succession. You can't skip through, you have to do them in order. So for the weapons, you're going to start with the first quest, which is going to ask for 30 of these. Now the problem is that the further you go, the more expensive it gets. So the first boss that you do, it's going to cost you 1.5 billion silver in Aquila's New Year's Eve fragments. For the second boss weapon that you do, it's going to require 70 Aquila's New Year's Eve fragments. And for the third boss weapon that you do, it's going to need 120 Aquila's New Year's Eve fragments. 120, guys, just to kind of put that into perspective for you, 120 times 50 million is 6 billion silver. Okay? 6 billion silver just in those items it's going to cost you. For the armors, it's a little bit more expensive. Okay, you do have 4 boss armors to do instead of 3. So again, you're going to need 80 Aquila's New Year's Eve fragments for the first armor piece that you do. The second one is going to need 120. The third one is going to need 160. And the fourth one is going to be 220. So 220 times that by 50 million is 11 billion silver. Okay, 11 billion silver for the last one that you're going to do. So this process is very straightforward. It's just very expensive. You buy these fragments from the Old Moon shop. You go to Jatina, you accept the quest. She asks you to hand in X amount. She's going to give you an earth crystal or a sky crystal. You use that crystal to then make yourself either a weapon or an armor of the brilliant armor improvement stone or the brilliant weapon improvement stone. That's going to help you upgrade to the final phase, phase 5, which is when you get your pen boss gear. So this is a process, guys, that they've introduced. It's pretty straightforward to understand. It's just a stepping stone. It's very expensive, but you know, weighed up between the successes and the failures of enhancing a pen gear. Sometimes this could probably work out cheaper. Sometimes this could probably work out more expensive. Weigh up the good with the bad. But that's basically all there is to get through. I'm not going to go through like the calculations of what the total overall cost is to do this. I'm pretty sure you guys can understand that it's going to be very, very expensive. So I don't really think like there's anything else for me to say. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below. I hope that all this information helped you guys out. Anything else that you need, feel free to hit me up in Discord. Links in the description below. Come on over, follow me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/hideousthoughts. Links in the description below. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.